Okay, but now
Just wait,
just
just
wait
wait a
for
little bit.
Greg now.
No worry.
Okay, let me see here if I can do the at the same time here. Oh my God.
No worry.
Where is Greg now?
Lost Greg?
He's coming back. He's coming back. So, we're online.
Okay. Hi, Greg. Can we start?
Okay, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, what happened? Just stay, please, here.
Just everything.
Too many lives.
Too many lives, yes. So,
Okay, we're live now.
Okay, so we're gonna start now. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I know how hard it is, the agendas, and that you guys have other plans or the projects. So thank you so much for your time here with us. I'm gonna introduce you. So this is a project that we're doing every Thursday. The name is HereNow. It's a project of a series of lives that we are doing to talk about art and the world right now, with art, how we're gonna have, how it's gonna do, what we're gonna do. So we feel that is really important to talk about. Today we're gonna talk about street art festivals. Now what we're gonna do. And we have three phenomenal guests. First of all, we have Jasper Wong, that is the creator and curator and director of Pow Wow Festival. Thank you so much, Jasper, for joining us. Pow Wow, it's a festival. I don't know, how long is Pow Wow? 10 years now?
Yeah, 10 years now. Around
wow. 10 years. So Jasper is an expert of festivals. Also, we feel that Pow Wow, there's a great strategy. They are like a franchising of festivals, I can say like that. It started on Hawaii, but now it's worldwide. And so I think Jasper, he has a lot to teach us about this subject. And then we have Ian, that it's one of the four, right? Yeah. One of the four of of Landmark and co-founder of Mural Festival. He's also the director of the festival. Mural, it's already in the 7th year, I guess.
It was good. It's the 8th edition, like this
8th
year.
edition. Wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And we have a really emotional connection with Mural Festival because we, it was the first festival that we went as a media, and also the first country, the first city that we went as Instagrafite,
Wow.
so we have a good connection, like an emotional connection with your festival. So thank you so much for joining us as well.
It's a pleasure.
And then we have Greg Pages, that is a curator and co-founder of Vision Art Festival. I think Vision Art is really unique because of the environment, because the festival happens in a ski station, right? So it's really unique, really different, and it happens in Montana Kranz in Switzerland, and during the summertime. And then when it's in winter, all the murals, colorful murals together with the snow, it's really amazing. Also, Greg, has a lot of experience with the art world, and he's a polyglot. He's also speaking Portuguese, but today we're gonna speak in English, but he also speaks Portuguese.
French, he speaks Japanese.
French, everything. It's really a special person. So thank you so much, Greg, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And well, I'm doing all at the same time, so I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do here. But anyways, my first question to you, well, here with me to host you guys, there is Baixo Ribeiro, that is the founder and director of Choque. It's a really famous gallery here in Brazil, and he's a legend here in Brazil. So he's joining us in this project, and also my partner Marcelo from Instagrafite is also here with us. So, okay, so my first question to you guys is, like, I was thinking that for us and for many people that work in the street art business, it was a shame. It was really sad because in this situation, a lot of projects of us were canceled, right? We had a lot of projects with brands that were canceled, postponed, but we didn't have a festival to produce during these months now. And I was like, oh my God, what is the reaction of Ian Mural Festival, for example, that they have every June, right? A festival, and it's happening right now, the situation of the coronavirus, you know? So what was your reaction at first when you came with the information about coronavirus, you know?
I think at first, like probably like a bunch of people, we didn't believe that it was gonna touch us. Like, so for a while, it was like a little bit of like not even realizing that it's gonna strike. So everything was keeping the schedule until we realized that, oh, okay, maybe it's not gonna happen. And yes, finally, like the situation got really worse, even here in Canada. Like so. Everything was canceling like one after the other, like every summer festival, like our Big Brother festival of like that's been going on for like 20 years and more in Montreal. So it was really scary. And I would say that like we almost canceled Mural completely as the other ones, because we were just like, okay, maybe there's just like no way. And I think after reflection, like we saw how much like everything was canceling, and we were just like, you know what? We think that the community that we are working with, like all the community of artists, musicians, and everything, they got all their gigs canceled. So we were just like, okay. So and we saw like this movement of people like getting together, as in, okay, I'm gonna create from home. I'm gonna like I still want to create, like I'm an artist. So we were just like, okay, well, you know what? Like after like 8th edition, and probably Jasper is gonna tell the same, is that our audience, our people, they're gonna understand that this year we cannot provide them with the same level of events that we used to organize here in Montreal. For those who knows, like the music shows, like the gatherings, like thousands and thousands of people like getting together, like this model for us 100% is not going to happen this year. But we figured that like there's still stuff that we can do, and probably is going to be another subject, but like the online version of
we're gonna talk later about, but you know, like not only the perception of the audience, because I think everyone understands, because we are all in the same situation, right? But in the perspective of production, I was like, oh my God, did he book already the hotel? Did he buy the tickets for travel tickets? You know, like
we were like a week to announce like the like all of the. So it was kind of crazy, but I think it's not too bad, as in like the tickets get always booked like even closer to the event. Like all the equipment, it's a little bit farther as well. So because like as soon as they announced like the closing of everything, like we sent everyone back home to work from home. So we continued working, but at the same time, like we were starting to close everything that was like an investment. So that way we got lucky, but it was really like 2 weeks after this, I think we would have spent like a lot of money into organizing the June edition of the festival. So really like knock on wood, but like the timing was almost good for us in favor of like, so not too bad on that side.
That's good for you. And you, Jasper, like you have other Pow Wow Hawaii happened this year because it was in February, so it was before all this craziness. But then you have other ones, right, Jasper? You have in Long Beach, you have other in, I don't know, Japan. How is in the other countries? How are you? Do you guys are modifying? Are you guys, you know, postponing, transferring? Like, what are you doing with it? And how was your reaction as well?
Yeah, so I mean, we were lucky because we were able to do the Hawaii one at least, because that was February. That was like right before a lot of the mass lockdowns that were happening around the country. So at least we had that one this year. because then it was already sort of rampant in Asia, and we the same with Jan. We were like, oh, it's not really going to hit us. Like the past pandemics never really hit America. We never had any sort of like lockdowns here, and then it happened, and we're like, oh well, at least we had the Hawaii one. So, but all of the other ones that were supposed to happen around this time period are all just postponed. There are some of our festivals that are already funded that really raise enough money to make them happen. So we're still committed to making them happen this year at some point. The rest of them are being pushed back to sometime end of year. So we'll probably have like a lot kind of overlapping each other towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Same with Jan, where like now we're thinking, well, if we're going to do a festival, we can't really hold large gatherings. Like we can't do the concerts, and we can't maybe even do like the art exhibitions or anything, because we can't bring in a lot of people into one space. So we're trying to pivot and find different ways to still do the work, but safely. So, you know, which comes, you know, we start thinking about things like, okay, you know, can we do a screening and create a drive-in theater, like in a parking lot against the wall? You know, like, can we do that? And if we do that, then can we also do a talk in the same format? You know, like if everyone's in the car, you know, can we find a way to maybe hold smaller concerts, maybe on flatbed trucks, and bring around local bands to different neighborhoods and play music? You know, like how can we, like, instead of having people come to us, like what else can we do to sort of go to them? And during this period too, like even Hawaii, like we've been doing a lot more sort of, I guess, socially conscious work. I've been involved in like free mask and sanitizer initiatives where we're trying to like get free masks to people and to homeless people, etc. Doing like small positive signs that we could sort of install around the island in different places, you know, just positive messages, just smaller projects like that.
Yeah, that's what we need to do right now, right? We need to unite forces and do this type of thing. I think it's amazing that you guys are doing. But in the perspective of the festival, like you said, we had already sponsors and then the projects were canceled or need to postpone. How was their reaction? Like because we here there's some projects that were canceled, and the sponsor they run away, you know, they cancel as well the sponsorship, right? So how was the reaction of them? And they were nice to stay with you guys in another format.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the sponsors that have stuck with us, and the sponsors are the ones that we were lucky enough to have written agreements already signed. Like it was already set. The ones where maybe we were in talks with, or whether it was funding that we were still sort of working through, maybe we were like in the proposal stages and we were working it out, like those were the ones that kind of have all fallen through. But the ones where, okay, we have signed documents, the commitment's already there, the funds are already promised, then those are the ones where we have it already. And then so it's more of like how we would then sort of utilize those funds for a festival and sort of pivot and change the way we work. So the hard part now is all the festivals that we have that are going to struggle to get funding because of lack of funding, not only from sponsors, but also from like, you know, in the city. You know, because now there's like not enough funds to go around for these kinds of projects, and they might not see it as important to like other things that they will have to fund during this time.
Exactly. So. And it's the same, you know, in everywhere in the world right now. And we are going to talk about funding because it's one of my topics here for you guys, because I think it's really difficult. Usually it's difficult. Hi. Usually, usually it's difficult, but right now it's really difficult right now. But anyways, I'm gonna just pass the voice to Greg so he can talk a little bit about his experience in this situation. How was your reaction? And also Vision Art is every July or August, right? So how was for you guys?
Well, until now we didn't think we had to cancel, and well,
until now.
No, but yesterday it was confirmed that we don't have to cancel, because in Switzerland you're allowed to have gatherings up to 30 people from Saturday on, and up to 300 people in the streets, or not. But we changed the whole festival to smaller things. So the festival is going to be longer. And from the beginning, already in March, we decided that we're not going to have international artists or just close artists from France and Germany and Switzerland that come by train or car. and it's going to stay like this. So we had 2 or 3 spots that we left for international artists, which are now going to be filled. Until now, until yes, it was all on hold. It was just a kind of Swiss edition. And we kind of used the time also to develop more interactive concepts, not only walls, but sculptures, interactive videos, something like this that can have small amounts of people. We kind of had a kind of Corona plan where it's up to only 5 people at the same time. We can see it with the distance. So it kind of made us also creative. And Vincent and Joe, the 2 guys I work with, they kind of published a book which is going to be finished in a week. So they kind of used the time of being 2 months in home to do a book of the last 5 editions.
That's
So,
great. That's great. Great idea. Yeah, I think made us all creative, right? And also, since we cannot travel, we cannot go outside our homes, especially here in Brazil, we are still in quarantine. I don't know, probably some countries are already, you know, safe to go out and with masks, of course. But here, no, we are still 70 days now at home.
We are the worst. We are the worst.
We are the worst country. As always, we suffer more, you know, it's hard to be Brazilian, but anyways. My question to you, and taking the line from Greg, is like, we know that our artists from our universe are globetrotters. Some of them, they don't have home, you know, like in this situation, some of them like, oh, where I'm gonna go? I don't have home, you know, I travel all the time. People come back to their families. They crash in a friend's house, something like that. So they travel a lot. How do you see now, especially the end of the year, that we're gonna see some festivals like Greg was saying, that in some countries that it's possible to do projects and events, but how do you see the travels? Like, we're gonna see a decrease in the traveling. And how do you see that? Like, are you going to work more with local artists, or do you feel that we are able to travel artists across the countries, you know? Ian.
Oh, that was for me, the question?
It was for everyone. It was
okay,
for
perfect. Well, on our side, definitely it's more working with the local artists for every physical installation, mural painting, and stuff like that, because clearly the travel ban is still on. So I think yeah, this year we're gonna present the work from local artists. But at the same time, like what we're working on also right now is to at least reach out to the artists, the international artists that we're asking them, like, oh, like, do you want to do something online? Do you want to create from maybe even like from your country, and we broadcast this on our networks?
Yeah.
This is also an option. We're still in discussion with this, but like we're open to generate content for at least the period of time that we're gonna hold the event. So I think that's gonna be the solution for now, like for us. But like, yes, more local artists for sure this year.
So you have to cancel with the artists that were supposed to come to Montreal now in
Yeah.
June. You have to cancel.
Yeah, because like we had artists from Spain, so like this was complicated. Also, like we don't know yet, so it's too risky to continue to say, oh, maybe it's gonna be okay by the time. Like,
yeah, too early. But how do you see in Asia, Jasper? Because I see that in Asia is a little bit more control right now, the situation. But are they receiving people from abroad? You know, like how is are you guys thinking about that, the traveling between countries?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think an issue that we have, especially like, you know, I don't know about all the other countries right now, but in Hawaii, at least, like we have, like if you fly to Hawaii, the thing is like everyone can fly around, it's fine. Like the FAA hasn't shut down flights between cities, between states, but different cities have initiated quarantines. So for Hawaii, if you were to fly out here, then you're forced to do a 2-week quarantine in a hotel room or someone that you know. So it kind of makes it difficult to sort of have anyone come in for projects, because then you're like, okay, you have to account for the fact that you have to hang out here for 2 weeks doing nothing. before you can even like leave the hotel.
Vacation time in the hotel. No, it's not gonna happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they've been monitoring that pretty strictly, where like if people break that quarantine, then they're on the news, they're like criminals. Like this guy was at the beach, and like, and then if you see this guy walking around, you know, like so that makes it tough to do any sort of like traveling right now until those quarantines are lifted. Right now, some of the festivals that we're doing later in the year, we're planning to have international travel, and I'm hoping that I can travel to them too. So right now we're planning for that with the hope that things will kind of calm down and travel will be allowed. And we're still working towards that. So, but then some of the ones that are happening like closer to now, like say our Long Beach one, we're thinking of still doing in August, and the city has approved that. Is only going to be local LA based artists.
Only locals, yeah.
Yeah,
And also,
so,
I think it's a good moment because, of course, we love to work with international artists, but at the same time, it's a unique moment to also, you know, give some value to the local artists. And you guys, you know, in LA, there's a lot of amazing artists, you know, so it's
yeah.
great. You know?
Because most of our rosters that we have, like almost all of our festivals, like the rosters have to be half local.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be like all local, which is good, which is fine, which works out great. And so, and then like for us, for like a lot of mural painters, at least in the States, like a lot of when we first started going to lockdown, they created, you know, what were like considered essential workers. And part of that was like they wanted to keep construction going. And within that list of construction, like interior, exterior painters were allowed to work. So I was able to like paint some murals during this time period. And then for us, like in some cities, like even if there's still a lockdown or a new lockdown, then we can still paint murals. It's only the issue of having gatherings.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then painting murals, it's also in some projects that we're doing, like in Rotterdam and different cities, it's only going to be mural painting, and that's it. Like there's going to be like no sort of events, no talks, nothing, just only murals only.
Yeah, this is a good solution that we are saying here, you know, for people that are watching us. Maybe the thing is that, you know, the solution for the moment is painting walls and just the artist and the wall, and that's it, you know, but there is the production team, there is other people involved, right? So
yeah, I mean, that's what's happening in San Francisco, right? Where they're doing the Paint the Void project, where they're just painting all the boarded up businesses. And it's totally fine for them to do that, you know, there's just no events attached. But then the fact that artists are then covering these sort of areas that look more forlorn with art helps with with the spirit and just trying to boost the spirits of people within those neighborhoods, which help. So we're sort of thinking along those lines too, like, yeah, we can still add murals and add color.
Yeah.
And bring light to some of these areas through art, you know.
Through arts. And we also think that this moment right now, after you know, everyone it's able to go out, it's arts in the murals are going to be a really good tool for people to be secure again in the streets, right? Because we can put some messages saying, you know, be safe, we are together, you know, optimist messages, you know. So we feel that we have a tool in our hands right now in this situation, right? But just to finish this subject, Greg, the two international artists that you are going to bring are from where?
One is going to be from Spain and the other one from Germany, so it's not that far.
Not that far. Mm-hmm.
German one is going to come by car, so it's not that difficult. And Spanish one, well, normally it should be good, but that's still on hold. If not, we have another French guy coming back because we became friends, and so see if he comes instead with the car. So we just had to wait yesterday what also the government decided to see if the travel is going to be okay. But normally from the 15th of June, it's going to be okay. People from outside can come again. So, that's we kind of kept them, and if not, it wouldn't be a problem. We just do 2 walls less. I mean, it's everybody understands that this year is going to be less, a little bit local, and kind of an emergency situation, which is sometimes also good because it kind of brings back to basic. And so, as we said, like the walls, and I think that there's going to be also some nice stuff because, as you said, that many artists are globetrotters. They kind of produce so much, and now they had kind of 2 months to maybe do a reset, maybe create something new in their studios out of boredom. So we're probably going to see also new things coming out that wouldn't have been possible without a crisis. So I'm kind of looking forward to maybe new styles of guys or new techniques.
Definitely, I definitely see that, and also I think that technology in the past was used more superficially in our business, you know, and now I feel that situation we had a boost and acceleration of technology, not only, you know, to sell pieces, to sell canvas, to sell art, but also, you know, with all these that we are seeing. And in addition to all the live streams that we have, there are a lot of live streams, and also really good content on social media. How do you see the technology invading your festivals? Like, do you see that we're going to see more merge between technology and the festivals because of the situation we are now? Do you feel that you're going to do more stuff with technology in the next years as well?
Definitely. I think even before this, we were really aware of that. Like, I don't know about you guys in your city, but Montreal is like booming in AI, in projection. We have like a lot of initiative. We're going to collaborate with like actually another festival that is like actually a projection and mapping festival. So for us, it's really, really, really like it was already in the discussion like since last year. We started with like smaller project, but it's something we were looking forward to. The technology is expensive, so it's also like nice to try to bring the technology to artists that maybe doesn't have access to this. So the result in some of the project is really interesting to give accessibility to those type of technology. Like if I'm talking about the VR or like AR, all of these things, I think it's booming also. So yeah, definitely on that aspect, we try to innovate and try to start projects of this level. But also like the difficult part was really the social network and the way it evolves also with the crisis. So this was a learning curve also. Like I never used Zoom before, or like many of the platforms that are now like,
they are rich right now. All the streaming are by Zoom, you know, like they increase like 100%.
so this was, I don't think it was like that much like difficult, but it was a challenge of like being reactive. So this, for example, like I think was a more complex challenge for like bigger festival. Like I still consider my festival being like a small one. So we're a small team. We can be reactive, I feel. So
no, you were not.
Well, compared to other Montreal ones, like I still feel that we're like a smaller festival than the big ones that we can see here in the city. So yeah, I think the reactiveness was really important, to just like be aware of like what's the new platforms, what you can do. And yeah, I think it's the key to what we're gonna do this year, is just to, and maybe even it was even telling us naturally that maybe we lacked a little bit in the past years, like in organizing a lot of like physical stuff and like focusing on, and then you realize, wow, I have actually an audience and maybe I don't use it enough. Because like when we started to connecting and doing content, you realize, oh wow, okay, like there's people from all over the world that follows Mural and like what we're doing. So yeah, I think this is going to be the key this year.
That this thought that you had, it was everyone, you know, and also in the contemporary art, you know, there's a lot of fairs and museums that were not prepared for this moment, you know, not only in the street art universe, but also in the contemporary art. So I think it's a really good opportunity for us to rethink how we're doing stuff, you know.
Yeah. Definitely.
And how about you, Jasper? Do you think that you guys are gonna promote more? I feel that also Pow Wow, there is a lot of connection with the culture that we love about that. You guys teach us, you know, the local culture, and it's something that for me it's bigger than any technology, you know. But since we are in this moment where we are live streaming a lot and, you know, seeing these contents on social media, do you see that is also a good opportunity for you guys to explore other technologies?
I mean, yeah, I mean, same as Jan, like we've always been thinking about other technologies, whether it be AR or VR or projection mapping and things like this. We've done some of those projects too last year in different cities. In terms of social media has always been important for us as a tool to sort of get the word out. I mean, granted, sometimes it becomes tough because algorithms change and then new platforms show up and you're like, okay, should we be doing like a lot of TikTok videos now or should we not? Like, I don't want to be doing like there's so many, like then there's Snapchat and you're like, I don't even know if I can balance my time between all these different platforms and what I should and shouldn't be using. I get to a point where like, I feel like I'm like too old for TikTok now or something.
Me too.
Like hiring some kid to sort of do all our TikTok videos and stuff for Pow Wow, but then to what we do, So to try to just like keep up with all that kind of stuff becomes tough because you're like, okay, like if that's the audience, if certain demographics are reaching or only using these platforms, and then maybe Instagram is now for old people like myself, then like do we have to start changing it up? So for us, it's like it's just hard to keep up with everything with all that kind of stuff. I feel like I need to like find someone that will just focus on each platform and just do only content that's specific to those platforms. But outside of that, like we're just trying to. We haven't been doing as much like live streaming as everyone else and doing all the interviews, which I love. I've been the fact that I can like just jump on Instagram and listen to a talk, like, and then they're always happening now, like all the time, with a variety of people, not only artists but with like writers, with everyone. It's been amazing to sort of have that access, but also this time also made us realize that there's also like a lot of access inequality. Because with the schools being shut down and also like knowing different teachers, you find out that a lot of kids or a lot of people don't have access to the internet. And maybe their source for the internet was perhaps going to the Apple Store or going to the library. And if those are all shut down, then they have zero access at all to not only just sort of stay connected, but also to just, like do anything that's internet related. And if so many things are sort of like still, if we have to like use that as a primary source, it doesn't work for a lot of people, especially like certain underserved communities, which we like to work in. Because we did projects in public housing last year, in schools and different places, in like schools for homeless children and everything. And none of these people are like connected to the internet as much.
No.
And so
imagine here in Brazil, the lack, between our world and our bubble and the favelas, for example, it's huge. We are in a situation that we are seeing more the economics, the differences, and I totally understand.
Exactly. That's what like a lot of our efforts, like more recently during the pandemic, is to try to do things that connect to the neighborhoods that we're in. That's why we did the free mask drive with our friends at Everyone and the sanitizer giveaways, etc. And what was surprising is that when we did them, we were just doing it for like 2 hours on a Friday, and then people came 2 hours before that time to sort of stand in line to sort of receive masks, which it's good that we were able to provide a resource, but it's also sad that there's so many people that aren't able to access those necessary resources, for their own safety and for their own health. And so we're trying to figure out more ways to sort of like yes, we have to sort of look at technology, but also like step away from that and find ways to sort of support our communities through what we have physically, or like, because I'm starting to do some like even like workshops and stuff for kids and everything like that. I'm teaching and everything like that too. So we're trying to find a balance between everything, where like maybe this is a time for us to also step away from social media and then start looking at our own communities and how we can help just through.
That's a great message. Yeah. And how do you think, Greg? Well, it's different in your city, I guess, because you don't see a lot of, I don't know, there is economical difference there as well, or I don't see that in Switzerland.
Well, obviously, it's not the same as in Brazil or Hawaii or something, because I mean we're in a ski station, and I mean Switzerland is one of the most socially equal countries in theory. But even same as Jasper said, that if there's no the schools are closed, the whole families are home, then for example, with my girlfriend, we have 2 kids, and suddenly you realize, if everybody wants to work at the same time, you would need 4 computers. Which family has 4 computers at the same time at home? Even we didn't have it. So it was like, okay, you have your school. Okay, I'll wait and do something else. I'll help you until you're done, and then I'll take the computer or the iPad or something. So technology is good, but even we found the thing that to find the balance is like how many computers you need, how many iPads you need to stay connected in a quarantine. So and is that the goal to at some point have everybody has a phone, everybody has a computer? I mean, for example, we tried to keep the kids away, mostly possible to not be at 7 years old the whole time in front of a phone. And for the last 2 months, it kind of was required for them to be in front of a computer and a phone the whole time instead of being with their friends playing outside or something. So I think the balance and to refine the balance is the most important thing now outside of art, also in our public life. And it's really important. And well, personally, we've been also doing 3-4 murals outside for another project, but I'm kind of missing the contact with other artists, seeing other artists paint, being just outside, having a beer and seeing somebody paint is, I mean, what we're doing now.
The basic.
Yeah, the basics. And I mean, I'm just a hug or something with somebody who's not from my family. Kind of, you kind of see how important these kind of social interactions were or are. And now that they're gone, you kind of, shaking somebody's hands or something is kind of something that really give you something. And I think that's to find this, the balance now is the most important thing, to not be overly driven to technology, to kind of find both ways is kind of important now. I mean, it's cool to have the Zooms, the video conferences, to talk to all you guys would probably not be possible without a quarantine. But I'm also looking forward to be outside again and doing art outside, seeing it with my own eyes. I mean, you probably all agree that an Instagram pic, a video, something is never going to give justice to a real artwork when you see it in big. In the streets, or even more with a painted work where you see structure, the different colors, everything, it's not the same. And it all kind of flattens out in technology. And until we can find and reach something higher, I think we really have to find that balance.
I just want to give a reminder to people that are watching us that you can do questions here on YouTube, in our streaming on YouTube, and also in our Instagram, and also Baixo, if you want to talk anything or just ask. I talk a lot, but you guys can talk as well.
We are listening. We are listening.
Sometimes I just interview the people, but I would like to know more or less. It's impossible to think about this, but festivals and street art used to provide some kind of very intense experience, personal, with the public and the public space, and people will just start up again to come to the streets, and a festival could be a very good welcome to people. And if you think to change a little bit the experience you can provide to the public, what could you think about doing different things like educative projects or a more intensive way of dealing with the public, not only exposing things on the streets, on the murals, Are you thinking something different about the experience of the public over this pandemic?
I think what Jasper said, right, about seeing the community, what they need, right, Jasper? And but you guys, I think I can on the top of Baixo together, you can answer to us is like, what are the precautions, like about the space that Baixo is saying, like not only the community, but and also not only murals, but like Baixo said, education. How you guys are gonna provide that? It's just about the streamings, or you guys are promoting workshops, or it's not possible at the moment? What you guys are doing to educate the public?
That's a good part of the online programming, I would say, like without saying that we're gonna do the same thing, but like that's a way that we want to address the audience that we have also is to organize some conversation and try to see how people react to all of this crisis and what's the reality of like our artist community in Montreal, for example. So a few topics that we're gonna try to create discussions about during the programmation of our this year edition. But I don't know if that's linked to what you guys said, but like interestingly enough, like in Montreal, like projects were born even from the social distancing programs that are actually taking place. So they wanted to create like those hallway of like to create like a more easily way for people to keep like a social distance. So even those corridors that they're creating, like we deposit a project of having actual paintings on these things that like are gonna be literally ugly, but just act as like
But on the ground?
there's already stuff going on the ground, but like it's tough to explain, but like the main streets of Montreal, like the sidewalks are too narrow to be able to walk in security. So they're gonna literally close like half of the street and do like walls, like fake walls, to actually keep the traffic on one side and give like larger pedestrians sidewalk. But like the walls that they're gonna do, like it might be like concrete walls that to keep the public safe. So we propose to paint these and have like a series of artwork along. So like that, like at least when you walk, like you enjoy some art instead of just like walking. And so it was a natural solution that came to mind, as in, oh yeah, so like it's impossible. How can people that love Montreal, even like the touristic industry, like we know now the benefits that what we done has for the city, as, oh, we want to go to Montreal because there's art everywhere. And so our natural reaction was like, if you're to put a wall on the main street where all of the murals are, like we're gonna paint them, you know. Like if you put like small walls there to block like the car traffic, well, to us it's gonna become canvas, and we're gonna allow even more artists to paint those and to showcase their work. So it was like natural solutions like this to name only this one. But like I don't know if it fits with the topic, but I'll let other people.
We have a question here that is connected to what Baixo asked. Maybe Jasper can answer. That is, are you guys planning other side projects to help communities, also involving artists apart from the murals? So you said about the masks and about the community, but are you guys connecting artists to these social projects?
I mean, yeah, if we're like, one of my sort of personal, at least, missions during this time is to try to find work for artists as much as possible. I've had some projects come through, and I'll try to push them to other artists or try to like, help other artists, because then everyone's sort of financially struggling right now. Whether they've lost their jobs or just any sort of financial security has disappeared for many. And so, I've been trying my best, at least personally, try to like find jobs for artists. I mean, I don't feel like I'm doing the best job. I mean, you can only pull so much for so many people, but it's been important for me to try to pull jobs and try to talk to different people and see what can be done. And similar as Jan, like, jobs have come up because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown. Like people were like, different companies have come on board, like, hey, we want to do something for the community. We're looking to do a mural. Can we hire an artist to sort of do this mural? That's a positive message, or just adding some color to their community. And so it's been great to sort of see that still happen in different ways. Yeah. So and then we're just, that's sort of like the main goal. Or we're doing like different things where artists are doing, designs for mask companies. So because nowadays, like, people are producing a lot of masks, and masks are become like an everyday sort of accessory for us now.
It is. Yeah.
And so now, like, I'm trying to figure out a cool mask to wear, because it's gonna help to inform your identity. It's sort of like what shirt or hat you're wearing. Now you have to also figure out like what mask you're wearing too. So these kinds of things have shifted, and also created work for different artists. And so we've been trying to do that.
That's good. And how about you? Do you guys have side projects, Greg, besides the festival?
Well, to go back to Baixo's question also, I wouldn't say that we can pretend to want to educate people about telling them what to do or how to behave, but this time kind of was our own time to reflect on what we do and kind of show a change in what we do. So for example, we stumbled on an article saying that even if the art world is the one that kind of is the first one to talk about something, to bring up an issue or to bring up change, it's not always kind of the talk, and what's happening is not always the same. For example, how we paint, with what we paint, what painting we use, how much material, plastics, everything. And so we kind of reflected and wanted to change that on how we actually produce the murals and what comes out of it. So we have different new insights, and we created new things that we can reuse that before was just thrown away. We want that every artist kind of, when now works with us, kind of works in that respect also. It doesn't throw away every brush, everything, kind of that kind of thing. So I hope that by that people kind of change by example. Yeah, we still want to keep the workshop with the kids and the artists together so that they kind of see what's going on, and through these kinds of happenings kind of educate the people, but not telling them what to do, because we're not big enough for something to tell people what to do, how to behave. It's each one of them, but you kind of start with yourself. And I think that's what also all the I don't know if it's probably with all your countries also, but here in Switzerland it was kind of nice to see how every person kind of changed small things. Neighbors who didn't know each other, suddenly the young guys were going to the grocery shopping for the older ones for like 2 months without getting anything in exchanges, because it was like this. And I hope that this kind of solidarity is the one that keeps up, because this is the most important one. Because if your neighbor is nice with you and the other one also, then you can be nice with people from further away. And I think that this is the most important part that hopefully stays. Don't think.
Yeah, that's good.
Well,
and so to sorry,
go.
You can say.
No, yeah, like that's sort of been an amazing thing to see as well, the solidarity, and that's been amazing even here too, where people are helping each other out more so than ever. But also, there's also issues here, and I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but we're also having more racism happen as well.
Mm-hmm.
Racism was already very sort of apparent in America, but it's also like renewed racism when it comes to even like Asian racism too. And I see it more being Asian myself, because a lot of the blame for the pandemic has gone to Chinese people. And for a lot of people, sometimes it's just like, okay, yeah, then all Asians sort of. Like the fault of all this happening is because of Asians. You know, and for a while, for like decades, Asians were sort of public enemy number one, because a lot of past wars were with Asian countries, right? With like Japan and Vietnam and Korea, etc. And so we're seeing a lot more sort of like Asian racism happen like globally in the country, everywhere, where like people are being picked on and yelled at just for being Asian, even though that's not. Yeah. So, and then the fact is like it's not, the pandemic happened. Yes, it started in China, but it's not the fault of like every single Asian person. You know, it's like, you know, the pandemic happened naturally, and so, you know, and it doesn't help with our president too, right? Like he doesn't help our cause or anything.
We understand you, because it's a competition between worst presidents in the world, you know. So
yeah, right now
we understand.
Yeah, so,
but
we're
there is
trying to also educate people on sort of that's not how it works. You know, it's not like ethnically specific. But.
There is a person here in our chat that she or he, I don't know, he say or she says, what about world issues apart from the coronavirus? Hiding racism, homophobia, war for money and power, you know. And I think it's something like you were saying, maybe it's something that you guys should be addressing in the thematic, in the theme of the next murals. I don't know, it's something like I feel like, especially you, that you are from this race, you know, like you should maybe like use that as a message, you know, for I don't know, for your projects.
Yeah, so with our festivals, like it's always been one of our missions to sort of bring as many people together of different diverse backgrounds I think it's key for people to like meet people outside of their comfort zones, you know. And so then I think when that happens, then people sort of like learn, and maybe some of those racist sort of thoughts are dispelled. It's hard when you're sort of like raised that way a lot of times, because that's sort of, it's just kind of built in, and it's hard to sort of like look past these sort of bubbles that are created, or these sort of walls that are created for yourself. So then that's why, like, whenever we're like with some of our upcoming festivals that we're trying to do this year, we're still trying to make sure that diversity wise, it's a wide range of people, you know, that we're bringing in like a wide range of different ethnic groups, but as well as different sort of, you know, sexual orientations and genders, etc. too. In hopes that, you know, as people sort of see these artists and meet them, then maybe they won't feel that way. But also like being part of different initiatives where we're trying to educate people on sort of Asian culture and what's going on, and that we're also people too, and that, you know, these kinds of acts that are happening are just not right, and trying to be a voice for that. And a lot of artists are doing the same, you know, trying to like speak and through education more so than just anger. So that's what we're trying to do. But, you know, trying to find the right ways to do it is hard too. Like, you know, like, because we can't like force it on people. So like, hey, you know, can you do a mural that's based on Asians? You know, it has to be something that they want, you know, something that they feel strongly about, you know, or even on any sort of racism too, you know, like whether it be Americans or anything, or homophobia, etc. So
you're right.
we're still thinking it through. I don't think we have the solutions for it, you know, but we're trying our best to sort of address it and work on it and think about it all the
And
time.
also just answer this person also, I feel like all the murals, usually, you know, the artists, when they are in a festival, they want to say a message, you know, through their art. So I feel in general, you know, they're doing that, and we don't have to you know, direct their art, right? Also, I love, because we have really good examples of festivals here that they have a good balance of gender, right? You guys like work for a long time, and you guys are really good on doing this curation, you know. It's always really balanced, women, men, and all the genders, and also all the ethnies. So that's really good to see, and it's a good example for the rest of the festivals around the world. But talking about something that it's not so good, that is business. There is well, I see that we know that no matter where we are, if it's in India or Montreal, the most difficult part to do a festival is not curatorship, is not production, is not painting murals. We know, you know, what to do. We have the experience. The most difficult part is to have to fundraise, you know, to have resources, financial resources to do a festival. We know that everyone that already did a festival knows how hard it is to find, you know, sponsorship, to pay the tickets, pay the materials, pay the you know, the hotels and everything. So how do you guys see this situation right now, and finding sponsorship for new projects that are coming? And also, you guys have, you know, a long path, and what is your strategy to maintain these sponsors with you guys for so many years? Do you guys have some tips for people that are watching us?
Yes, I think on our part, it's all the way on approaching the matter. And for us in Montreal, like I think the culture became a cause, because like the fact that every event was canceled, like the culture to me is like supporting the culture, like has become a cause to support, like in Montreal, because like all the events being canceled is the same issue that Jasper was mentioning. Like a bunch of DJs got all of their gigs canceled, about a bunch of like emergent artists, music artists, like as well as like visual artists. So for us, we treat this as like it's a different cause than like, I'm not here to say that this cause is better than another one. Like there's tons of good cause, but we treat our matter as a cause, and it's like help us to at least try to still do something this year to get these people to work, or to at least like show their work. And so for us, it tells a lot on the partners that we have. And I think we're super lucky because we have people that believes in the culture and believes in what we're doing. To me, it shows a lot when like someone is just like getting out. I feel like some of these companies, without like pointing the finger at them or anything, but I feel like it shows their true nature, because some of them are still doing like a lot of profit. They're just like doing a little bit less. And you see their nature if like they cut like all of the budget that they invest in the culture suddenly. No disrespect, but I feel like, well, maybe your intentions are not like that good in the end. If like as soon as like your profit getting touched, you get all of the money out of the culture, that like this is a long process to involve in the cultural. So to me, it's a bit like heartbreaking, but I feel blessed, because I don't want to talk negatively, because I know we have like a bunch of people that are in us and they supported us. They show like a gratitude of like, oh, you guys are still like doing, like obviously we can't have the same involvement, but we are there, like we support, we want to still help you guys. We know you're going to do something smaller anyway, but like, is there still a way to help you out? So to me, I feel really blessed, and I want to thank these people. They know who they are, and I think it's the way to address it. Like the people nowadays, they're all looking for original content, authenticity. And I think it even looped back to the question that this person was asking, is that the artists, they are the people that actually have most of the time the message and everything. The fights that we're constantly having is to give them freedom of creativity, because again, it's a struggle. You need to fund the festival, so sometimes there is like a brand involved, but the message has always been the same, like let the artists create what they want to do. This is the best way to have the original content, the realness of the art that is going to end up being on the wall or anywhere in the project. So to me, that's the way to approach it. And the authenticity of this link is going to create something beautiful in most of the case. So
thank you. And how about you, Jasper? You know 10 years of Pow Wow. What do you recommend to find sponsors, and how do you feel there's gonna be till the end of the year, you know, in this situation, to find the brands that can help us to do our projects?
Yeah, I mean, funding these kinds of projects has always been hard, you know, because at the end of the day, like, you know, we're not selling tickets for people to like look at murals, right? So there's no real like profit or income path that comes from doing murals, and the cost to do them is so high because you're considering flights and hotels and materials and even like renting lifts, right? Like an insurance, etc. There's a high cost going in, and there's not a lot of money that comes out of it. And all of it's really just for the communities that we're sort of working in. So for us, like with sponsors, like, yeah, it's going to be tougher because a lot of profit margins are being slimmed down. A lot of companies are struggling to stay afloat. A lot of different industries are crashing. And for us, like right now, we're just trying to stay in touch with a lot of our different sponsors to like do different projects with them, just to show that, you know, we're in it with them together, and that we're sort of an integral part, or at least a part of the family, a part of their family, as much as they're a part of our family, and that we're all in this whole pandemic together and trying to work through this and trying to figure it out. I know that we're going to struggle to find funding for a lot of different projects that are coming up. And so we're just going to have to figure out how to scale back too. You know, like, you know, where the case is like, hey, if, as everyone else is doing, like if it's mostly local artists, then we're not covering flights and hotels because they're based there. And those are major cost items that we don't have to worry about, because that's a lot of money. So maybe we're just looking at like lifts and materials and paint, and maybe we can try to maybe get some sponsors, or maybe get some paint donated, etc. Right? So there are ways to sort of keep it going and try to scale back and just try to like look at what, and then if we're not doing a concert, then that's like a huge amount of money that we're also not spending, because that's a lot of funding that they raise for that too. Right? And also like, you know, all these other materials that come with it, all this other cost. And so if we find ways to slim down, then we can still keep them going. We can still create art. It's just a matter of finding ways to sort of work with what's there. And so
yeah. These
social
projects that you guys are doing there for the community about the masks and everything, you guys do you have a sponsors for that, or are you doing independently?
So we're working with a lot of different other organizations with the sort of the same goals. And so those masks, they were able to bring in like 2 million masks in.
Wow.
And so then we were then trying to work together, try to figure out the best way to sort of distribute that many masks to the community. And so that's what we're trying to do, and also find out people that are willing to sort of donate, and then we'll help to sort of get it out there. Yeah. So a lot of it is more just trying to work with organizations and try to find ways to sort of get get product and needed materials and resources to different people that have a hard time getting it.
And how about you, Greg? The station, they sponsor your festival? How it works?
Well, the thing is that obviously, I think for big sponsors, as Jan said, some are going to just retract, saying that basically now the profits are down, it's not going to be essential for them anymore. So in one way, you kind of have to be, again, also closer to the people. The people who benefit most from it are still the people of your community. To find arrangements and maybe non-money deals or anything like that. There's also new branches who kind of, as you said before, exploded. So they kind of have cash lying around so, while others are going bankrupt, unfortunately. So maybe looking for new sponsorings. But the most important part is, I think, is the local support for the festivals now, that when you trim down to find maybe non-money values in contrast to make slimmer editions until everything goes up again. Obviously, if you had a local paint shop or something who was sponsoring you, or I don't know, somebody who local clothing shops or something, it's going to be tougher for them to give you even if a small share, and that's totally understandable, even if they want to. But I think that also people hopefully realize that in the common discourse, art is not non-essential, as everybody said first. I mean, just think, we were 2 months at home. Try to be in your home without an Instagram, without a movie film, without a book, without looking at artwork. Try to stay 2 months without all of that, what artists actually create. So I hope that people actually realize now that when saying, yeah, art is not essential, actually is like, oh, wait, now we were down to the most essential stuff, which was food, and something to get our mind off that basically at the beginning, everything was going to go to, well, to the S, to, well, what kept your mind away from it? Watching movies, reading a book, listening to some music, watching at a piece that you had hanging at your wall or something. That was actually keeping people going forward. So I hope that this also makes a new drive for either fundraising or festivals or people to create things and saying like, oh, it's not anymore the, well, he's an artist. Which when you're out of the art world, it's like, yeah, well, he's an artist. Well, what would you do without the artist? Actually, not much.
So far here, the brands are really quiet. So I hope this can work in the near future. But right now they are really quiet to us. So I don't know. But anyways, we need to wrap up. So my last question to you guys is: there's a number of organizers that are watching us, other festival organizers, and what is the advice that you can give to them about festivals, especially in 2020? Should they cancel? Should they modify? Should they do it just online? What is your suggestion for other organizers that are watching us in other countries?
Well, I think, and it's a super good link with the prior question, because it's something I want to highlight as well, is the collaboration. Like for us in Montreal, every event got canceled. So now like a bunch of these like super good event organizer, like they want to do something still. They found their event being like literally canceled because they can't gather. So in the end, we're closer than ever with like our, I wouldn't say competitors, because like it's not really competition, but at the same time they're offering music, they're offering like to people to go out. And I would even suggest this on an international scale, because like for sure, like we have a lot to organize, like every one of us, but like collaborating in a way, like it can help us to actually get the content out and to still do what we do best, promoting the talent, getting it out there, like creating projects by ourselves, and suddenly like we create something. So I feel, to me, like the collaboration on really many level, in the end, like a bunch of people are thriving to just work. So they're just like, oh, let's create something. I wanna give to this. So to me, it's kind of like the key word right now, because we see it so much from coming in all the direction. Is just like, oh, you guys still do something. My God, I want to be part of it in any ways. Let me know, like, what you need. Can I help? Like, so it shows how much we get closer, people, when there's like a dramatic event like this. Like people want to help, they want to. So I feel like this year, like, it's probably the best way is to reach out to the people around you and do the collaborating, like, more than ever, to achieve something, to help you achieve something. Sorry?
Uniting forces.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we're open to collaborate with anyone.
Good. That's good to know. And how about you, Jasper? What is your advice?
Yeah, I mean, like, I have to agree with Jan, you know, like, I think this is a time where we should be asking each other for help. I think being solitary figures, and especially now that we're feeling very solitary, just being stuck at home during different lockdowns, it's good to sort of like look to each other for help, not only just for, collaboration, but also just for words of advice or like words of support, and trying to help each other carry us through these projects, or also plan for projects post pandemic, like what can we do together afterwards, like once we can all get together, because this is not going to last like forever. At some point we'll be hanging out together in person and being able to like hug each other. At some point it'll be okay. I don't think it's going to be like where we stop hugging each other for the rest of our lives, because I think it's going to be a problem just for our sort of mental state. But I think the fact is like, we can all get together. Like, I mean, the fact that you guys, brought us together through this Zoom meeting to just sort of talk. And that's nice, and then, like, these things, these gestures are amazing. And I really appreciate it, that you guys are all, everyone together here is all helping to carry the culture forward, and we're all trying our best to also support the arts and the artists that are all involved. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the best way is right now, like, hey, let's just all see how ways we can work together, whether it be planning future projects or finding ways to even get together through Zoom meetings and share our thoughts.
Well, we appreciate your time with us, because it was really nice, the response, the fast return to you guys, and I feel that is also a time that we don't have to be egocentric, and this is a message especially to the artists, because sometimes the egos are really big, and like you guys said, it's time for solidarity, and we need to be together, and there is no time for demanding the huge stuff right now, and also they need also to see, a lot of things that we are doing, and be together with us, like the whole community. But anyways, I will let Greg to finish with his tip for our audience.
I mean, the tip is difficult to see. I mean, we're now 4 different countries and it's 4 different states of emergencies or not. So it's kind of difficult to say a tip for everybody. But as Jasper also said, it's not going to last forever. So don't put yourself in a state of mind where it's like this forever. Try to have a positive outlook on it. Try to create projects that once you can realize them, you can realize them if you have to postpone them. And basically, it's also maybe the time to see that if you can't do it, okay, well, nothing happens. It's still you're going to do a positive project maybe next year. Put your energy in something that's going to be nicer next year if it can happen now. But don't do something just to do something. It has to be a value, even if it's a local artist or something local, it has to be something out of value and positive as a good message. So I think that well, the time is now to stand together, to create something nice together, but not at any cost, as maybe it was before. Before it was create something at any cost, as big, higher, everything. Well, maybe now you create something small, but but out of value. I mean, a local initiative with masks or something. Okay, you didn't create a huge mural, but on the long term, you did something nicer or better for the people. So don't see everything negative. There's positive coming around, and you have to be the spreader of that message.
That's great. That's great. So we're gonna see, well, Mural Estival now. How do you say in French?
Yeah, it's estival. It stands for summer. So we changed the formula. Again, it was to help us as well to just like have a new offer. So we're gonna do 2 phases for the festival. So the first phase is just gonna be like a slow start of like, we're gonna start producing the mural like one after the other instead of all at the same time, to give us a little break also on like crazy production. Everything's happening at the same time. It lowers the cost. Like if you want to be creative about the money, like for us, it was just like, okay, well, we're gonna start slowly in June, produce 1 mural, document it, then produce another one, document it, and then we want to do like a 30.
How long is gonna last? The whole.
We're doing the whole like official summer. That's why it's called Estival. So it's like mural summer, and it's like from June 20 to September 22, I think 24.
Oh wow! So like 4 months.
4 months of like, but it's just like, not that it's a cheat, it's just a way of like, this year, this is what's gonna happen, and this is our programming for the whole summer as a nonprofit organization. It's just like, this is what we're gonna provide to you guys, and what's gonna look the most like the festival is that we wanna do, at least on this time, we wanna do 30 days of activity like every day. So there's going to be a part which is more by the end of August to September, where like every single day there's going to be an offer. Like we don't have like everything planned out yet, but just at least 30 days of like, there's always something going on like artistically. So
and it's physical and online at the same time.
Both. The term that we use in Montreal right now is fidgetal. So
digital. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Greg, so tell us, just to finish, tell us a little bit about Vision Art this year. So how many artists and July?
What Jan said, instead of doing and packing everything in 8 days where you have 15 murals at the same time. So 15 murals is what means 15 artists, 15 assistants, 5 cameramen, blah, 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 10 lifts, depending at the same time. So that all packs up the costs, and also obviously the number of people in the production. So what we're going to do is just, we have over same thing, but not from June to September. We're going to have from end of July to end of August. At the beginning, the first 2 weeks, production of walls, maximum 2 per day or 2 at the same time. So it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks, depending on weather. And the rest of the time, we're going to have once or twice a week, special dedicated days where you can see either the installations or a tour or something like this over the whole summer. But it's also the same thing. We want to show that there's something done out of quality. So it's all smaller events, not as much as at the same time. So you don't have to, as an organizer, stay up from 6 to 2 o'clock in the morning to see everything. And every day there has to be a new video and everything. So it's really, the festival is going to be a lot more chill. Less people at the same time, smaller groups, so we're allowed to go, everybody still eat at the restaurant together instead of going by transfers of half an hour every 5 people. So that's what's going to happen. So it's normally every Wednesday, every Saturday, same as with Jan, since we had to wait for yesterday for the decision how many people can go where. It's not 100% decided what we're going to do. We still have 6 weeks to create stuff. Which is going to be not much time, but for the 6 weeks now, we're going to work for a whole summer program apart from the murals.
That's great. That's great, guys. And Jasper, to finish, the plans for Long Beach.
Well, we're still planning to do a lot of the festivals that we're planning to do this year, except that we're pushing it all back to end of year, so from August onwards. So we still have Long Beach, Korea, Japan, Rotterdam, Cleveland.
Oh my God, so many.
Wow. So many.
And so we're planning to sort of do all of them towards the end of the year. And right now, like it's just really based on sort of what is allowed, based on the city, like whether it's like only murals, or whether it's murals plus like events that we can sort of like pivot so that we're like maybe doing projects like, you know, doing screenings as a drive-in theater or talks, or maybe doing like mobile concerts or different things that we're trying to figure out like what to do. So be a combination of things. Yeah, and also like the one in Lancaster with Think Space too. So we have a few that are like planning for the end of the year, and some of them we're still trying to get artists over, depending on who's allowed to travel and how we're going to do the project safely. And some of our other museum exhibitions are being pushed back to like next year. So we're working on those too. But we're still trying to push forward. And a lot of those projects are like, yeah, going to be mostly like locals involved, spread out across the city. So it's not all kept into like one place. But we're still pushing forward and seeing what we can do. Right now, we haven't really canceled. We've just been postponing everything.
Okay.
And there's just also one thing that I think it's important for all of us is to not go into overdrive now that we didn't work for 2 months or 3 months, because there's some people, some artists like, oh, I'm going to do all the projects, but instead of 6 months and 3 months. But I think it's important to not go into an overdrive saying, okay, well, we missed 2 months, but these 2, 3, 4 months, we're going to jam pack them in 2 or 3. So I think for creativity and production, it's going to be counterintuitive.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to see what you guys are planning, and since we spoke about collaboration, count with us. You know, we are here in Brazil, but we can post and promote your festivals and your initiatives. So we are always here for you guys. Thank you so much for your time. I think we need to finish because our time is over as always. But thank you so much. Keep safe, and thank you we admire you so much. So thank you for being an inspiration to all of us.
Same for you.
Thank you for having me,
guys.
Nice talking to you.
We should do a Zoom with like a drink and just talk with each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can get some drinks and talk more.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye guys.
Bye
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Thank you.